Welcome to BigGunner81 Live, everyone. Tonight, I want to first show you guys a new intro here. Kind of getting used to this. We've got Ryan and Toby in the house tonight. And before we get into who we're going to have on our show, go ahead and tell you who our sponsors are here. Light Arsenal Finishes and Gunworks, BATArms.com, which we have Barry in the house tonight. Eggleston Munitions, you can check them out at egglestonmunitions.com. The Range at 355, which you can find at range355.com. And Tier 1 Training Corporation at tier1training.com, which we have Toby in the house tonight with us as well. And who do we have tonight to talk with? So, we have Tim from TACCOM with us tonight, which you guys can't see my camera. There we go. So we got Tim from TACCOM. Go ahead and say hello, Tim.
Hi, everybody.
And, of course, as we said, we got Toby in the house from Tier 1 Training. Our guy Ryan Wiggins here, our expert gunsmith and match director and shooter. And Jay Carillo, the sponsored shooter. And, of course, Barry from BAT Arms.
Evening.
So, and Barry, we can actually hear you tonight, which is good. It looks like you got a good Wi-Fi signal going, so I'm happy.
I do. I corrected that issue.
Oh, I got you. I'm not going to ask you how, but it sounds like it was involved somehow. But
It's called relocated.
So, Tim, tell us a little bit about you and your company. Like, I'm still new to the whole shooting stuff and learning things, and I know there's a lot of people out there learning as well. So, tell us what you do exactly and how you got started with it.
Oh, boy. Well, I actually got into the shooting industry back about 1994. In 96, mainly in pistol. Hooked up with a guy by the name of John Gangle because I was doing a paper on trigger jobs for the AR-15 and found out that he was doing basically the same thing I was, and we hooked up together, and we ended up coming out with a much better refined JP trigger. Ended up actually working for John for a little bit, and that was a great experience. Then I went on to work for Nordic Components about 2005, I suppose. Left there in 2012. Said, you know what? I just don't want a job anymore. I've been doing all these designs for other companies. I figured it's time to do designs for myself and live the capitalistic life. And so I've been at TACCOM for 4 years. The philosophy we have here is keep innovating, keep it fresh. We grow our company. We build our company on our products, and we grow it with our customer service.
Awesome. So what all do you make and do exactly?
Oh boy.
Seems like, at first I always hear about your shot shell carriers, which I forgot to grab the ones I had here on loan. I showed them on the show, I think, last week before or something, I think. But besides the shot shell carriers, you do a lot of stuff, as I'm finding out.
Yeah, well, we actually started out, our very first product was a steel target. We came out with, we used a shepherd hook design, that's what your wife uses to hang plants in the garden.
Gotcha.
Well, there's a much better use for those. You take steel plates and you can hang them on there, and you can shoot 22s at them, and it's just an awesome little target setup. We don't make that anymore, but it's just a great setup. I mean, you can throw 5 of those targets in the back of a Honda Civic, go to the range, set up, and be shooting in 10 minutes.
Right.
But our first, product in the game was basically this little bad boy. I catch people make fun of it. People use it. It's our original dual load with the broom handle clips.
I got 3 of those.
And the price point is perfect on them. it is still by far one of our more popular holders that we sell. And I think I mentioned price point. It's $36 for 8 shells. It's a little bulky, but you know what? It gets you in the game.
Yeah.
And this is literally the design that put us on the map. We graduated from this, of course, going to the quad loads. That's Jay's favorite design. And then we came up with this little bad boy. This is what we call the deuces. And what's radically different about this than any other shell holder on the market, typically before, when you were grabbing shells, you had to come straight out from your belt. This one, we like you to run the shells horizontal, and instead of coming out, you're actually coming up.
Gotcha. That's basically, I think, the one I was showing you the other day that I was running or going to run this last match.
If I get it in a better position here, I'll show you in a deuce. Like I say, you come across and you just literally pull out to the side. What that does is when it's on your belt, instead of pulling out and then up, you're pulling straight up, you're doing a curl, you're keeping your elbow in, and guess what? When you're finished pulling out, you've got your shells right at the loading port. The most ergonomically designed shell holder we've ever done, and it's a super popular shell holder series.
What type of material is that made out of? Is that Derlin also?
It's Delrin, yeah.
Delrin, sorry.
Delrin is officially a DuPont name. It also goes by the name acetyl. So, but except for a couple of different ingredients, it machines the same. It's a great material. It holds well. As long as you don't make the clips too thin, it's not brittle enough that it'll break, but it holds the shells, fantastic. So. And so that was basically, actually, the Deuces line was our third series of shell holders, and it's been a very popular series. And then we came out with this one. And this is the new one.
Yes, that's the one that has the magnets in it, right?
Yes, it's got magnets in the top and a rubber cushion in the bottom.
That's cool.
And instead of clipping around the shells, it holds the shells top to bottom. And it holds them secure. They're not going to come out, but yet what the younger people and women have been finding out about this particular shell holder, they've never been able to quad before because of, the shells holding in so tight that when they grab them, the shells are coming out at weird angles and everything. The shells come out so smooth on this design that we've got some sponsored female shooters. They're 15, 16 years old. They're quad loading all day.
Right on.
And prior to their other systems that they had, and some were using TACCOM systems before, they could not quad load. But with this one, they are. So this is the latest. This particular one is this is the J. Carillo Signature Series because it's the patriotic one, red, white, and blue. So, but this is actually got J. Carillo's stamp of approval on it. So.
I love them. They're my favorite. I still love the double and the triple deuces, but the MGs are pretty impressive.
What we've really been selling a lot of on those is the chest rigs because they come out so smooth. And a chest rig you don't wear very often, and a lot of people don't practice with a chest rig. But when you need it in the clutch, you throw it on, and they're finding that they're pulling the shells out real easy. and they're not losing shells. They're not having a yard sale as they're running down the trail in their on the stage. So.
Yard sale. I like that terminology.
Yeah.
I collected quite a few of live shells that people lost at this last match, and I actually just ran them through my MK 1919 a little bit this past weekend. There's Ryan shaking his head.
You collected shotgun shells and brought them home?
A few of them.
You didn't see that? Like almost every stage he was over there. He was like the shot shell golem.
That's awesome.
I was picking up the ones that were garbage, and I was keeping the ones that were good. A few of them, not every single one, but I took a few home. Yeah.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with that, I guess.
The only guy that came back from the match with more rounds than he left with.
Yes, I was, and that's official. That's official because I DQ'd at the beginning of the match. But we talked about that last week, so you guys out there listening can watch that episode and get all the info, or go to my Facebook and check out the hashtag Jimmy Sprinkles. Toby's laughing because he's the one that came up with that.
You know, aside from the shell holders, yeah, a lot of people know us for shell holders, but in the 22 world, we're gathering a great reputation for 22 AR uppers. We make a barrel for the 22 AR, 17-inch long, and it weighs 14 ounces. Hands down, the lightest barrel, the lightest 17-inch barrel on the market.
That is awesome.
And Jay can attest to this. There's a game out there called Ruger Rimfire. Well, now it's NSSF Rimfire Challenge. It's basically like Steel Challenge. The bottom line is, he who swings the fastest wins. And you swing the fastest when you have the lightest barrel. And we have the lightest barrel out there. We've got a couple of sponsors in that sport that are, they win just about every state championship they go to, and they place high, if not winning, the national shoot.
Let me ask you this, Tim, too. Those barrels, now, do you manufacture those completely in-house?
We have the components made outside. We do the assembly here in-house, and we do the tuning of the barrels as well.
And what are they made out of that are so light?
Well, the barrel itself is a liner, and it's a 4-piece barrel. We have a breech end that's made out of stainless steel. We have a cap that is made out of aluminum, and then there's either an aluminum tube or a carbon fiber tube. And what we do is the barrel is threaded into the breech end, and we slip the tube over. We put the cap on, and we literally tension the barrel to a specific torque. When you do that, you really change the harmonics of the barrel, and these things are just, they're accurate. I wouldn't recommend using them in a bench rest match, because any little thing you do when you're on the bench different, such a light gun, it amplifies whatever you do different. But when you're shooting at 8-inch steel plates at 20 and 25 yards away, they're just a laser, and they're fast, super fast. So we've got videos of my son on our Facebook page. He was actually, my son has been the junior champion a couple of years, and man, he's a fast shooter. The reactions these young kids have nowadays, it's unbelievable. So, and then we also make a bolt carrier as well for the 22. I was showing you prior to the show, Minnesota graced us with being able to have suppressors.
Yes,
So,
we're trying to get that here in Illinois. Me and Jay know this. It's something we're hoping for.
And you know, the thing about suppressors is everybody thinks Hollywood quiet. Well, it's not like that. Whenever you shoot 22, you hear this. If the bullet was totally and 100% silent, you'd hear this every time.
Yeah.
Well, what we're doing is to make the to actually make the gun a little bit quieter, we're trying to remove that metal on metal contact. So
Right.
if you hear this, okay, for you guys in the non-suppressed states, big deal. But for you guys in the suppressed states, you throw this little thing on, and it's a lot quiet. I mean, it's still loud, but it's a different. It is quieter, and it's more of a thud. It's not a ringy, tingy sound. And when you're shooting the firearm, it really makes a difference. That, you know, especially when it's suppressed. And this is basically a Delrin collar that we put on. Now we also put a Delrin collar in the back as well. So
now, question about that design: can you put any type of a rubber, like a softer component, to catch it?
Well, you can, but you still have to worry about headspace. That's the problem. You know,
okay.
And if it's too cushy, eventually you're going to hit metal or you're going to hit plastic. So,
Right.
you know, in operation, if you hear this with a silencer versus the other bullet, it's like night and day quiet. I mean, it's like, holy cow, you know. People are just amazed when they see that. But that's another arena that we've gotten into. And then just recently, of course, we've gotten into AR-15 recoil systems, because the lighter you can make your reciprocating mass, the more you can hose, do those 50-shot double taps, and know that the second bullet is going in the same spot as the first. And the only way you can really do that is by lightening up the reciprocating mass, getting a good muzzle brake on there, adjusting your gas, and when you get to the point where, you know, you're literally sighting once and you just double tap, and both bullets are going to be within inches of one another at 50 yards. So,
Right on.
and that's been a huge hit, our recoil, our lightened recoil systems. And the beauty about that is you can use them with a steel bolt carrier or a lightened steel bolt carrier. There's a point at which you get diminishing returns. We've got some people using them with titanium carriers, and a titanium carrier is a nice way to go, but they're awfully expensive. You can get by with just a lightened bolt carrier, you know, lightened steel bolt carrier, and our low mass buffer system. You're probably saving $100 to $150, maybe even $200, and you've got a system that's going to be just as good as a titanium setup. So, you know, it's it gives people another avenue and to fine-tune their guns. You know, when it comes right down to it, if a guy thinks the lightest bolt carrier out there and the lightest buffer is going to make him shoot better, then you know, it's kind of hard to convince him otherwise. And that's the way it is in the shooting industry. If you're confident about something, I'm going to be the last guy to tell you that something else is better. So,
right.
Because what works for you is the best. So.
That's true. Go ahead, Tim. Oh, I heard you say something. Maybe it was someone else.
I don't know. Who's going to say something?
I thought I heard someone say something. Sorry. I was just saying that basically, I agree with you, Tim, about that too. Everyone's got their own preferences on things, what they like, what they don't like. And people get set in what they like, you know, and it can bring up many arguments oftentimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, there's this, you know, with the shell caddies. You know, there was this thing about caddy wars, and I'm like, there's no caddy wars. It's a Ford, Chevy, Dodge thing. You know, what's the best shell caddy out there? You know what? There is no best shell caddy out there for everybody, but there is a best shell caddy out there for you. And hey, it might be a TACCOM, it may not be, but you use what you feel is best, and you're going to do better with it. And I'll be the last person to tell you that, you know, if you're using a competitor's shell caddy, I'm not going to tell you, oh, that's, you know, no.
That's one of the things I noticed too about you, Tim, with your company. You're providing like some of the files for like some of the products that can be 3D printed and whatnot.
Yep.
You know, who else does that? Nobody.
You know, I've got lots of ideas. Some of them are, you know, pretty cool, and they're what you call a long road to a small house. In other words, they're not going to be very profitable. And it's like, hey, I've got the design. Why not release it and let other people use it? I've got, you know, if I've got a design that I can't use, I'll give it away. You know, but if I can use it, okay, well, then I'll see if I can work with it. You know, I've given some good friends in the industry great ideas of what, you know, to do with their, you know, to enhance their products. And some of them have taken that advice, some haven't, you know. And I'm more than willing to help any way I can in that respect. Yeah, for the day, I'm a capitalistic pig, you know. But it's not all about money. It's about giving back to the sport you love. And I do love the action shooting sport. It's a great sport. You're never going to meet a bunch of nicer people than in this sport. Even though we're all type A personalities.
That is true. That's one of the things I love about this sport is all the people. I mean, even the people here on our show right now. You know, I only met you guys not all that long ago, and you guys are great. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. And lots of fun. Ryan, you guys the thumbs up going. I saw that. You know, and Jay and Barry and Toby, and now you, Tim, as well. It's just been a lot of fun meeting all the people that are out there in the shooting sports and stuff, and it's great. So,
I feel like we just got really close right now.
yes, we bonded.
Yes.
I thought
Kumbaya.
when you text me from a shower sometimes.
No, that's not fair, dude. You text me first.
You know, another product we came out with is extensions for the 1919 shotgun. The MKA.
Yes, and that piques my interest very much so.
And, well, this particular one, this is a 10-round magazine that, you know, that comes, you can buy from, you know, Tooth and Nail Armory, as far as I'm concerned, has the best 10-round mags out there. Matt does a great job of working with that company, and
Yes.
he's got the latest 10-round magazines out there. Well,
That's who built mine.
this little bad boy right here, if you've ever noticed that these 10-round magazines almost hold 11. In fact, some of them hold 11.
Correct.
So what we did was we came up with this little bad boy right here. This utilizes our 3D printer, and it's a +3 extension. So it takes that 10-round magazine and makes it a 13-round magazine with the factory spring. And you know, you couple two of these together, you got 26 rounds with
Yes,
one
I'm
mag
going to
change.
need some of those very soon here. We're going to be talking.
Yeah. And, right now we're having a little issue getting a hold of, we're printing these out of a, I can't even pronounce it, it's PETG filament. And I'm finally going to get about 20 pounds of the filament in this Friday. But it's such a popular filament, we have not been able to get it. But I'm getting 20 pounds in this Friday, and I'm getting another 50 pounds next
So
week.
for those that don't know the 3D printing, the filament is basically like a spool, almost like a wire, but it's a polymer or plastic type wire, like, right?
Correct. It's a spool. It comes out, it goes through an extruder, and it literally prints on a bed. Think of it this way: a 3D printer. The simplest way I can explain it is a 3D printer works like a regular printer. A regular printer only goes left, right, up, and down. All right. So imagine if you had an ink and you printed the A in the same spot over and over and over 1,000,000 times, and every time you printed that A, the head moved just a little bit away from the paper. Eventually, you'd have a thick A on that piece of paper. Well, that's how a 3D printer works. The head starts at the bottom of the platen, and it ends up moving away from it. So it prints a layer, moves up, prints a layer, moves up a little more, prints another layer. It's real simple, and 3D printers are coming down in price like you would not believe. In 3 to 5 years, if you don't know somebody personally that has a 3D printer, you will in 3 to 5 years. So, and then going with the Plus 3, we came up with a Plus 11 3D printed extension for the 5-round mags, so that you can get 16 rounds. Now this happens to be actually, they're fairly rare. This happens to be an all-metal 10-round mag. So this particular magazine, I can't even get it in the entire, this particular magazine holds 21 rounds. But the sweet spot for the 1919 is a 17-round magazine. So if you have a 5-round mag, you buy our Plus 11. Works great. The only thing you have to do is you have to disable the bolt hold open. You take that piece out for the 17 rounders. For the 10 rounders, you don't need to. You can leave that in. So.
Which, by the way, I want to give a shout out to our friend Julie Wasted, who's watching, and also Hayden, our teammate.
Ah, Julie's on.
Yeah.
Yay.
She's out there in YouTube land watching us and commented, so I want to say hi.
Well, hey, Julie. So she's a young lady we picked up actually just this year, and she is a great ambassador to the sport.
Hell yeah.
You won't find nicer people than her. You'll find people as nice. There's one sitting here, that Jay guy.
The Jay guy over there, yeah.
Yeah, you want to get on his good side, you just get him a can of Spam.
Yes, he was telling me that earlier. I was wondering where the can was that you're supposed to be eating, you said.
I did have Spam earlier. I kind of ate it all everywhere, I would have brought the can.
How did we spend like 40 hours in a car together and we didn't know this yet?
You know what about this? You noticed too, Jay?
I gotta let out the secrets little by little. You know, can't divulge everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our latest project that we've released, it's always been a burden to me to get a shotgun extension tube. And before I do that, I want to explain something. And this is just one of the things I do. I'm a really good friend with Mark Roth. Mark Roth owns RCI, the guy that makes the X-Rail. And I came out with a shotgun extension tube this last year. And Mark and I were talking, and it was kind of like, well, Tim, we sponsor the same people. How's that going to work? And I said, well, that's easy, Mark. Anybody that we cross-sponsor, they're not allowed to touch my magazine extension tube. They're not only are they not allowed to touch it, they're not allowed to talk about it. They're sponsored by you, Mark. And Jay at this part basically just needs to keep his mouth shut because, well, he's sponsored by Mark Roth.
Tim,
actually, that was one of the things that really made me appreciate you as a person. I don't know if you recall, but we talked down at Nationals for a while in your little tent, and we actually had that exact same conversation. And to have, and I guess it speaks to to not just you as a person, but also to the sport and the people involved in it. I mean that there isn't a better upfront way of doing business and handling a situation like that. And it made me appreciate you as a person involved in the sponsorship of the sport and as a fellow shooter. I remember that conversation, and I appreciated that.
Well, cool. Thank you. No, but and that is the way I feel, you know. I mean, you know, we're both into this to put food on the table for our families. And Mark does a good job at it. I like to think I do a good job at it. The more we can work together, the better. Mark makes a darn good product. And, you know, I'm not going to say anything to the negative on him, especially him. Mark actually helped me. Mark is a cheesehead from Wisconsin. And, well, truth be known, I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I am officially a cheesehead as well. And we met a few years back talking about the impending quad load design. And him and I actually took out the patent on our overlapping lip design for the quad load. His name and my name are on the patent. It's still pending, but so, and that, what Jay has up there is the original setup that Mark and I kind of came together on. And we did it over at breakfast in Wapaka, Wisconsin. Yeah, so Mark and I, we go back, actually, Mark and I go back to when I was still at Nordic Components. He came to Nordic to have Nordic make parts for his X-Rail at the time. So I've known Mark for, oh my gosh, you know, 8-9 years now. So good guy. They don't come, you know, he's a good guy. He's aces. But we did come up with a tube. One thing we did do is we came up with a real modular design on our tube. It's a beefy tube. Heck, let me show you with a shotgun attached to it. You know, it's a pretty beefy setup. This is a +6 on a 26-inch barrel. It's a Stoger. We've got a knurled end cap, knurled cap here. This particular tube here is also a +6, but it's got, we came out with, you know, if you want to have just one more round, you buy this little piece here. It screws right into the end. What we did, our tubes are male on one end, female on the other, and lots of thread. So they just, you know, a tube, you've got a male end and a female end. So they just socket right into one another. Heck, you could make a 20-foot extension if you've got springs long enough. But it makes for a real strong setup. No need for a coupling in between tube sections. And the nice thing about this little stubby part part is, like I say, when you get into that situation where you want one more round, you throw this on, you don't even have to change your spring.
Wow.
You know, if you've got a +6 on there and you say, hey, I want a +7. You throw this on, you don't even have to change your spring. So, of course, you can throw a +4 on if you wanted to. You know,
Tim, what are those retail for?
the shotgun extension tubes retail for $84.95.
Okay.
Extra tubes with springs are retail at $38.95. This little stubby extension is $28.95, and that doesn't come with a spring because you don't need to use another spring with this one.
Of course, that's the time of making this show, because in the future, people will be watching 10 years from now at old episodes and be like, it really cost that much back then? It happens. I'm always careful about weighing prices on stuff because of it.
Yeah, so, but that pretty much brings us up to date with, you know, what we've got. You know, we do a lot of, like I say, we do a lot of 3D stuff. We just got a laser. We've just barely been keeping up with production. I would love to say we have stuff in stock, but we ship every day. When you place an order with us, we're typically shipping that day or the next day. But we're literally making stuff on the mill and assembling it, packaging it, and shipping it out. So, you know, I've got a great problem. So, you know, I need more manufacturing. So we just purchased a laser, and we're going to get that next week, and that is going to really speed up our backers. We won't have to mill them. They'll be done in about 1/3 the time they've been being made, and that's the beauty. We make everything. We make for the shell holders. We pretty much make everything in-house. We make sure that we're making the parts, especially now. We make sure we're making the parts that we need to ship that day or possibly the next. I want to build up. You know, I remember when we had bins full of parts, and you know, we were sitting around going, well, bins half full, let's start making more. I've got bins that have 3 and 4 holders in them, but yet we're shipping those products out every day. So, yeah, we need to do that. We've got, and then on top of all that, then you've got the boss who decides to come out with a new product. And this is, you guys are hearing it here first. This is our
BigGunner81 exclusive.
This is the 12-up Q-Load MG. It's, you know, made to go on a tech lock.
Nice.
It's, you know, I mean, this thing is, you know, holds the shells great. You can grab 2 if you want. You can grab 4 if you want. And they come out just like that. So, you know, you can grab 2, grab 4.
Look at that smile Jay's got. He's like grinning.
Oh, he's just, you know, he's like, are you going to send that to me tomorrow? No, I'm not.
Oh, I thought this was going to be like the Oprah show. You get a 12-up MG. You get a 12-up MG. No deal.
Jay's just salivating. But officially, this one is going to be available March 18th down at the Missouri 3-Gun.
Nice.
That is the official release date of this particular one.
Maybe you need to send one to your prospective new dealer.
There you go. We can do that too.
At
So,
bharms.com.
Oh, I'll give you an address to send it.
so, and down the road,
He's going to send you the file to 3D print it.
there you go. Down the road, who knows what we're going to do. You know, I thought 2 years ago I designed it all, and we've got over 100 different products.
That is awesome.
Like I say, we keep it fresh, we keep innovating, and
Well,
that's what we do.
Like that muzzle brake you have, or the compensator you have, too. I
It's
don't
1
think-
ounce.
Yeah.
You know, it's a 1 ounce muzzle brake
Yeah.
for the Faxon barrels. You know, it's funny. Everybody wants to build the ultralight AR. Well, you know, and everybody's talking about going with a 14.5 inch with a titanium muzzle brake on it. Wow, that's expensive. You know, and they are putting a mid-barrel or a mid-length gas system on it. You know, it's on the edge of reliable. But if you go with a 16-inch with a mid-length gas, you know, it's a proven reliable system. You go with something like a Faxon barrel with our comp, you got a 1 pound 4 ounce setup, and it's smooth shooting. You know, and it's uber reliable. And the comp, yeah, you want a comp that's going to catch the gases, but after that, it's the rest of the system that you tailor to get the recoil out. You know, that's the way we. If you look back to 1911s, okay, how many different comps are there for 1911s? Well, depending on which pistol smith you go to, but for the most part, an 8-port comp, couple out the side, couple up the top. There's really not much difference in the comps for a pistol. And but how do they keep that gun so that at 10 yards, when you pull up and you double tap, you've got your 2 bullets right next to one another. You're not aiming twice in 0.12 seconds. You're aiming once and double tapping. Well, how do you do that? You're doing that with the spring. You're doing that with lightening the slide. It's the same thing with the AR-15. As long as you've got a comp on it, cool. Now work with the rest of the system to get that gun to shoot in the same spot when you double tap. That's the key. We did it with the 1911s. It's the same thing with the AR-15s. There's no difference. It's the same theory involved. So. Okay, I got nothing else. I'm done.
There's a there's a lot of gas coming out of the end of an AR-15, so you can really you can do a lot and manipulate those gases to make them shoot really nice. As my boss Jeff would say, it shoots like a cream puff.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's man, what comes out of the end, like 30,000 or something like that, 40,000 psi.
Believe it or not, that first baffle does probably about 80% of the work, and it all depends on how small that. You know, you can get a 3 baffle comp to be very efficient, and you know, there's a couple companies out there that make, you know, a very efficient comp, but at what cost? You get a heavier front end. There's some comps out there that weigh 4 and 5 ounces, and it's on the very end of your barrel. That's the way wrong place to put weight on your barrel, because now your swing is going to be slower. You put a 1 ounce comp out on the end, you know, and you use a light barrel. Now your swing is out there. Yeah, there's the, you know, people go, I like the heavier rifle because it's more steady when I'm shooting long distance. I'll give you that. I don't see many matches where you're actually shooting offhand over 100 yards. Granted, there are. It's starting to come out more. But once we go over 100 yards, we're going prone. And at that point, it doesn't matter how heavy the rifle is. So, and, you know, out to 100 yards, what size targets are we using? It's not like we're shooting at a 1-inch bullseye. We're shooting at an 8-inch plate. So, for the most part. So that wobble and all that is not as critical as if you were shooting in NRA high power or something like that. So I go for the ultralight. You know, there's the other school of thought of going with the heavier balanced barrel. I just happen to think the lighter barrel is much more efficient for 3-gun. And there's followings in both groups. I'm just explaining my thinking on the whole thing.
Right on.
So,
by the way, you were joking around earlier about the giveaways for everybody. One thing I want to throw out there at this point too is I do have a giveaway going on my page that I forgot to mention last week for some SHOT Show swag. That's how long it's been since I've forgot to remember to mention that, since SHOT Show ended in January. But it is going on, so if anybody's interested and wants to get some patches and a bag and some other cool stuff, I've got already set aside for that. Just go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/BigGunner81, and the information's at the top of the page. And not too long from now, I'll draw somebody as a winner once we get a few more people on board with it, since it's something I just kind of threw up and forgot to mention that I did. So, yeah. Anyway, so Barry, you've been really quiet. I didn't say anything. I just threw it out there. I want to ask you, you got anything going on right now you want to mention?
No, just, I pretty much all our regular stuff going on. Doing really well with the velocity triggers are doing well for us, and the local shows for those in the Chicago area. We'll be at Kane County this weekend. Stop in and see us and say hello. Other than that, just business as usual.
And I got to return your shotgun, and I got to get your F1 banner back too for your show.
Tell me a little more about that velocity trigger. I actually was trolling your site a little bit, and I saw that, and I saw the price point on it. Wow, that's one of the least expensive cartridge triggers I've seen on the market.
So here's a little tidbit.
What's the secret?
So the secret is the gentleman that owns Velocity Trigger, his parents were the original founders of Timney. His brother runs Timney today, and he was their lead design engineer for some 15, 20 years, and recently left the company and started his own.
Okay.
I will tell you that I have Timney triggers in the shop, I have Velocities in the shop, and they are extremely similar. Difference in the price.
Okay. That's the I feel his pain, because he wants to get his trigger out there,
yep.
And he's got a big monster that he's up against.
Absolutely, he's doing really well.
Yeah.
He's quite backed up, and like yourself, he's expanding his equipment in his shop and his production. But yeah, our sale price on them was $135, and
not bad.
That is awesome.
It is. I'm actually running one of those triggers in my rifle too.
I'll tell you, at a price like that, that's one thing too. Is I'm not one of these guys that really want to rate my customers. I want to charge a fair price. So I admire that, and I seek out other companies like that. I'd consider carrying that trigger on my website.
I do very well with it. So F1's got a lot of new products out. Rick, you saw them out at SHOT Show.
Yep.
All their barrels, bulk carrier groups, and actually they've been known historically for their billet line. They're actually coming out with a forged line.
Oh, wow.
And,
cool.
And I found out today, actually, that my order of forged rifles, they have 3 different models, pretty tricked out, actually. Hyperfire triggers, Vortex optics, their own barrels, which, by the way, the F1 products, they literally make 98% of their products in-house.
Yeah.
So when you buy an F1 rifle, it's 98% F1.
Well, when you watch their video that they just did a little while ago, where they're shooting a teddy bear or whatever up for Valentine's Day, that with the full auto, you can see all the CNC equipment they got there. So obviously they have the equipment to do it. So why not? You know?
They do, and my shipment of the Forge Line rifles, the Mod 1, Mod 2, Mod 33 models, should be in stock within the next couple of weeks. So I'm really anxious to get those in and see what those look like.
Right on.
Yeah.
Is that velocity adjustable?
It is not. It's so they've got a 3, 3.5, 4. I don't remember if they have a 4.5. They're all fixed.
Right.
So you buy based on the trigger weight that you're looking for.
There's some little adjustment set screw that looks like it's like set in place though. On them, I don't remember what it's for. I didn't really look too close.
Yeah, they're epoxied in or Loctited or whatever, so they're not it's not meant to be adjusted.
Right.
It's kind of funny. We always the JP trigger, when that came out, that was, quote unquote, an adjustable trigger. Well, clarified a little bit. It's adjustable for setup, because once you adjust it for setup, you're Loctiting that stuff in, and it's never going to adjust again until you heat up those parts, and reset things. So adjustable is a ambiguous term on those triggers. So I like the fact that they offer, 3, 3.5, 4. That's kind of a nice setup. So what I found, what really matters more than anything, I'd rather have a crisp 5-pound trigger than a mushy 3-pound trigger. So if it's crisp, man, I don't care how tight it is or how much it weighs.
Velocity's nice and crisp with a very nice short reset. I run Geisley, I run CMC, I run Tim, I run them all. And I got to tell you, for the money, you can't beat the velocity.
I'll tell you what, that sounds like a dynamite price for them. It really does. I'm going to be checking those out. So.
Break muted.
Awkward silence.
Yeah. So anybody here going down to the Missouri match coming up?
What's in Missouri?
We've got a big contingent from Indiana Multi-Gun that are going down to shoot that Missouri 3-gun championship.
Okay, there's a bunch coming from Minnesota, and I'll be there. I will not be shooting it. I had hopes that my son was going to be shooting it, but he hasn't shot all winter, and he shot his first 2-gun last November, and he's decided he just doesn't want to get into a big match for his first match of the year without having practiced all that much. And you know what? I agree with him. I understand this one's going to have 2 Death Stars in it, and my son's never even seen a Texas Star.
Yeah, I saw they gave out a lot of their course descriptions, and I saw in their all shotgun stage, it's like a 38-round shotgun stage that has a Death Star.
Yeah.
MK 1919, man.
Betcha. MK 1919 and what, 2 magazines?
Yeah, basically. You the 23 rounders they make, or a couple what you got going on there.
Yeah, there you go.
And you better bring extra 12-ups. They are going to be pretty popular down at that match right before that stage, I bet.
Yeah, no kidding. So,
just sell them at that stage.
Bring chest rigs, Bring chest rigs. Well, that's one thing locally. What I've done is, we're going to be doing this year with the Minnesota 3-gun group. I'm going to give them a couple of chest rigs that will be available to new shooters at the matches. So, because you get new shooters there and they're digging shells out of their pocket. So, hey, give them a chest rig. Give them a chest rig with dual loads on it. Anybody can dual load with 5-10 minutes of practice. So give them those and let them go to town. So fact, we've got our first match of the year, and I'll be up there with a couple sets just in case. There's been people asking, what's a good shell holder to use and all that. And I said, hey, I'll bring up a couple for you to use. So.
Hey, one thing I want to talk about real quick with the MGs and the double deuces, the dueling deuces, and I've had a few people ask me now what I do, what my setup is like, and I tell them all the same thing. It's stage dependent. So if you have a stage that's going to require bird, buck, slug, all of the above, the MGs might not fit all of your different types of ammunition. So having the double deuces or triple deuces or the deuces is a good idea, because then that'll allow you to carry any type of ammunition that you might need if you need to stagger your loads for the targets. I kind of got lucky with my slugs and my bird. They're about the same height, so they'll fit in my MGs. But if you have turkey loads that you have to use or buckshot, it's not going to work out. So you need another system, like the dueling deuces, or double deuces, or triple deuces.
Yeah, it is one of the drawbacks of the MG. They will take a difference in height on the shells, but if it's too radical, then it's not going to set up. For the most part, what I found is if you're using some Italian 12 gauge rounds and then using Fiocchi slugs, you're going to have some issues. But I'm old school. Heck, I've been shooting 3-gun. My original, one of the original weapons that I used was a bow. That's how long I've been shooting this game. And the other was a slingshot and then a couple of rocks. But back in the day, we always said when you get into a mixed stage, that's the only stage that you actually have to think, because if you shoot a bird shot target with a slug, yeah. So we always came up with the feeling that my slugs are in a totally different way of loading from all my other shells. So now I'm hearing that these guys, there's a term called candy cane. They're putting their shells, they know just exactly where they have their slug on in the shell holders, and they're putting them in that way, and it's if they do it right, they're heroes. If they mess up, well, then they can become zeros real quick. But man, I'll tell you, there's all to gain, but wow, all to lose as well. But hey, if that's their game, awesome. So,
yeah,
like I say, I'm just old school. I would always used to take slugs. I'd have slugs on an armband and shot shells in my caddies. So.
Well, now you just sound old, Tim.
Well, I'm just a little bit old, day older than dirt. So
he put his slugs in a bandolero and.
Yeah.
So for everyone out there, here's a visual, kind of what we're talking about: candy caning or staggering loads.
Yeah.
We've got, I've got bird, turkey loads, slugs, bird shot. This is a triple deuce, so you can have 12 shells on there. I just kind of put these on here for illustration purposes.
Right on.
I did that for the first time on Stage 8 down there in Florida, and it actually worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah.
Being a cop, I'm from the old school. I was the exact same way, Tim. I carried them in a different type of shell holder. I carried them in my slugs in a 4x4, and that way it was different place, different way of loading, the whole 9 yards. But I did it for the first time down there. First stage it worked great. Then I think it was stage 4 or something like that. I screwed up on a preload tube and drilled a popper with a slug.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
You know it the minute it hits.
Oh yeah.
No hiding around.
Boy, that pattern's tight.
Well, Must be one of those, what is it, pure gold chokes or whatever, right?
Yeah. No, but yeah, definitely keep both systems. I think it's good to keep in your arsenal. You'll never have just one system.
Oh, exactly.
Cool.
I have so many shell holders when I go to a match, and I do stage dependent. So.
Right on. So we're hitting about 10 o'clock right now. So I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to throw out there. I'll go ahead and I'll start with I'll start with Barry real quick here, just 'cause I'm going through my little list on the bottom here. You got anything else you want to throw out?
Just one closing comment. So, for your listeners that may be anxiously awaiting for the infamous Magpul drum, the 60-round drum that you can't find anywhere, I just happened to get 5 in stock today. I'm going to throw those up on the website. I'll try and do it tomorrow if I get time.
Nice.
They are not going to last. So,
No,
drums are,
already.
What are those selling for, roughly?
they're about $140.
Okay. Nice. And Jay, you got anything you want to throw out?
I just want to thank you for having me back on the show, and it's always a pleasure talking with you guys. And if anyone catches me at a match and you have questions about the MGs or any of my sponsors' products, please don't hesitate to ask. Be happy to help you out.
Hey, and Jay, thank you again, too, for being on with us. And thank you for your help walking me through stages, even though I didn't get to practice that knowledge this time around. But I'll keep some of the things I did learn as much as possible in my head for April when we get down to Alabama for the Southern Regional for Intriga Nation.
Yeah, man, as long as you're learning, you're moving forward,
Absolutely, and I appreciate it.
Don't forget.
And I appreciate your attitude. It's always awesome. Always good to hang out with you. So, and same with you, Ryan. You got anything else you want to throw out? Did you steal any recoil springs lately?
I had a whole pile of them.
Yeah. And the Super Black Eagle is the Super Black Eagle is back together now, or you're waiting for the stock to cure up or whatever?
No, I just took it out of the clamp today. She's good to go. It actually came out looking pretty good.
For those who don't know, who may be watching this now, Ryan had went down to the BigGunner Nation Southeastern Regional with us, and on the way back, your shotgun stock, which is wood, got damaged.
Yeah, they when I got my case back from the airline or TSA or whatever, all 4 of the latches on the Pelican case were unlatched. So it gave it like half an inch of room, which I think loosened up all the styrofoam, and all of my stuff got twisted around on the inside. My wooden stock got cracked, but I fixed it. That's what I do.
Wow. Yes, and it looked like you were doing a pretty good job of it too, from what I saw. So that's awesome. The Super Black Eagle will soar again.
It's still wood.
It's still wood.
I might be one of like the only people in the 3-Gun Nation circuit out of a few thousand people that's actually running a wooden semi-automatic shotgun.
But that is awesome.
It looks awesome.
It is. These are the coolest shotguns I've seen. It's got its own hashtag.
You just got to make sure you put rounds in it.
Yes. Like unlike me, where I put them in prematurely, you forgot to put them in when you're supposed to.
Yeah, and I forgot to put shotgun shells on my belt too. That was cool.
It was. It was a fun time though. But yeah, thanks Ryan for being on, and Tim, you got anything on for a while?
What?
Cool. Yeah. So Tim, you got anything else you want to throw out there before we end the show?
Well, I just want to thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
It's been a great hour or so.
Yeah.
You guys just proved that this sport is full of nice people. I had a very enjoyable time. To customers, future and past, I want to thank them for their business. If you ever have a question on any of the product we sell, I'm a phone call away. Thanks for having me.
No, awesome. I appreciate you being here with us, and again, thank you for your time and being on here with us. So it was cool, and I have a lot of questions for you very soon here as well, especially with the lightweight build we were talking about and the MK 1919 stuff.
Sure.
So I'll be talking to you very soon.
All right.
And Toby, do you got anything you want to throw out? You got any classes coming up that you want to throw out?
We are actually just getting ready to roll out our calendar. It's not out yet, so Keep an eye on the Facebook page. Keep an eye on the website at tier1training.com, and that'll be coming out probably here within the next couple of weeks with basic classes, rifle classes. From top to bottom, we're throwing in some shotgun classes to liven everybody up because we love shotguns. Get a lot of pump actions in our tactical shotgun classes. Other than that, I just want to thank or3gun.com, Condition Zero, who's a new supporter. And if you have any questions on sports nutrition, hit us up at babcockadvocare@gmail.com.
There you go. And I look forward to coming out to some of those classes, too, and checking them out as you get them rolling out, too, when possible. So we will talk soon, and thank you guys all again for being on with us tonight. And until next time, go out and have some fun shooting.